Welcome back. We're here to talk about Saturday's lunchtime kickoff between Chelsea and Liverpool. It's Mourinho versus Klopp, two managers widely regarded to be among the best in the world, but both in growing need of a victory. Pascal, I got to come to you on Mourinho first. It's all unravelling for him at the moment, it seems.
It really is, yeah. The form hasn't been good, the performances haven't been good, and there's all the other things as well. It's not like he's just there on the touchline, and stuff is just happening on the pitch. He's getting himself the headlines. He's not going to press conferences. He's had multiple Football Association charges this season. His assistants are getting sent to the stands, like the West Ham game. That was another defeat for them. 15th in the table, really, really poor. Lost 5 of their 10 Premier League games this season. That's their worst ever start to a Premier League season. Worst start since the 70s, I think, which just shows how bad it's been. Because even before Chelsea had all the money, they were doing better than they are now. So really, really unravelling for him, and certainly the rumours are, he could be gone soon. I mean, if they do sack him, it's going to take a monumental amount of money to, cancel that contract, because he signed that new contract in the summer. Who's going to come in? Would it be a return for Ancelotti? Guardiola has been linked. He's always linked with jobs in England, and whether he comes in, I saw he got really angry at his press conference last night about questions over his future, if he's going to stay at Bayern, because he's very much a season by season kind of manager. And yeah, maybe Chelsea, if they think the season's gone for the time being, they might appoint an interim boss until the end of the season if Mourinho goes, and then think, right, we're just going to go for Guardiola at the end of the season. So interesting times at the moment. It's been a terrible start to the season. Defeats, League Cup last on Tuesday, West Ham on Saturday. League table's not good. Out of the League Cup, Champions League hasn't been great. Really, really poor so far.
Yeah, I think the thing that's buying him a bit of time is obviously his past success, and rightly so, but also that amount of money it will take to get rid of him. But all the rumours are pointing to it. If he doesn't win this game, he could be a goner. If not that one, then Dynamo Kiev the week after that in the Champions League. But certainly midweek didn't do him any help in the League Cup, going out to Stoke City. To be honest, Chelsea didn't play too badly in that. They should have won that game. They certainly deserved to at least get that late goal to get to extra time. But again, they just couldn't put the ball in the back of the net. It's been their problem quite a few times this season, as well as defensively, of course. Defensively, again, only Norwich, Bournemouth and Newcastle conceded more in the Premier League, and there was questions over their defending for the Stoke goal as well. It was a great strike from Walters, but Cahill just gave him far too much room on the edge of the box to get that shot away, which you didn't really see happening last season. So that's a big problem. They finally got the goal that they deserved, but then couldn't see off a 10-man Stoke in extra time, which would have been really disappointing, despite having so many, I think it was 24 shots on goal in the end, so many chances in the first half. They were a little unlucky with one cleared off the line, but then Ramirez missed an open goal after he rounded the keeper. Really disappointing. And then to lose on penalties, Hazard of all people, who'd probably be back more than any other Chelsea player to score from the spot, he was the one who missed the resulting penalty. I have to say Butland, it was a great save from him, and he had a great game, so Chelsea can point to that. But another disappointing result, a better performance than many we've seen this season, but it's a results business, and Mourinho's just not getting them at the moment.
Yeah, and they're obviously not going to be able to win the League Cup, which is a huge blow for them. And just looking at the league table, I said 15th. You look at the stats, they need to take 2.17 points per game from now on to reach an average of 71.8, which is what you've needed to get in the top 4 the last 5 years. That's going to take a huge, huge effort from them to average that for the rest of the season. You just can't really see it. Last time out, that West Ham game, I think they lost Costa to injury last night. We're not quite sure how serious that is yet, but I think certainly losing Courtois, for how long it did, was a huge blow. You look at both of West Ham's goals. The first one was a good strike from Zarate, but it's near post, and I think you should be expecting your keeper to make that. And then the second goal, the winning goal from Andy Carroll, cross comes in, and Begovic, he just started to come a little bit, and that just made him a bit out of position, and he wasn't sure to come or go. And then Carroll heads it beyond him. I think if he'd maybe stayed on his line and been a bit more ready for the header, he might have been able to save it. So I think losing Courtois really hasn't helped them. You talked about how bad the defence has been. Losing him, he was such a star goalkeeper for them, wasn't he? And I think Begovic, even though he's had a good few years at Stoke, he's a real downgrade from Courtois for me. And losing Costa like they did last night is such a big blow for them. So injuries coming in. We've talked so many times this season about all their players being out of form. Fabregas hasn't been himself. Hazard, like you said, it's incredible that just how good he was last season. I absolutely loved Hazard last season, but watching him this year, he just looks a completely different player. So all those things, the injuries, the players not playing well, certainly that Mourinho has got to be a part of that, because he's the one coaching them and drilling them, so it is a part of that for him. But I still do think that they're going to come good sooner or later. Put together a good run, because you just look at the players they've got and you just think surely they will. And Mourinho's record down the years, surely he'll turn it round. But the way things are going, you do feel like time is running out.
Yeah, for sure. And they're coming up against the Liverpool team here now, who they might regard as threats for the top 4, because that top 4 stat you mentioned with Chelsea, we're still kind of regarding them as title contenders, that they might get back into it, but missing out on the Champions League is a really big risk for them at the moment, and the way they're going, they're certainly not going to make it. The way Liverpool are going, they might not make it either. Klopp's made a bit of a inauspicious start to his time in charge as well, hasn't he? 3 draws in a row so far, not the best performances in any of them. Last time out against Southampton, looked like they were going to get the win after it wasn't a great performance in the first half, but Benteke came on, changed the game at half time, got a really good header to put Liverpool in front, but again they just couldn't see the game off. There was a scrappy late equaliser, but Liverpool perhaps should have done better defensively for that one. So there's 3 draws in a row for Klopp, 5 draws in a row for Liverpool, and 9 in the last 12, including the one against Carlisle in the League Cup, which they went to win on penalties. It's just not really good enough. There's too many drop points. They're not losing games, which I suppose if you want to put a positive slant on it, that could be one. But it's too many drop points for a team who want to get into the top 4.
Definitely is, yeah. And we're recording this before they play Bournemouth in the League Cup tonight. That's a really, really big game for them now, because you see Chelsea and Arsenal going out. They've gone out, so it's a real chance maybe for Liverpool to go through tonight against the Bournemouth side. They're out of form themselves. If they can go through Liverpool, that's certainly a chance to, they could get a nice draw in the next round of the cup. And even if Klopp struggles a bit in the league, going to the semi-finals or final or winning the League Cup, that'd be good for them to do that. And certainly the goals is a real issue for them, isn't it? You talked about Benteke, that was a great header, but there's only 1 goal there, and only Watford and West Brom have scored fewer goals than them this season. Benteke's now a doubt for the weekend. Sturridge, it looked like he was coming back, but now he's out of the squad again, and it doesn't look like he's going to be ready for the weekend. He's certainly one of those players at the moment who, every time he seems to be getting close to get back fit, he never quite does. He'll play like, say, 1 game, come on for, say, half an hour at the end, but then he'll tweak his hamstring or whatever problem he's got. So he really needs to sort something out soon, because we know Ings is out for the season. If Benteke's missing here, Sturridge, Origi's probably going to start in that case, and what we've seen so far, he doesn't really look like a Premier League quality striker yet. And he's still very young, but certainly at this moment he doesn't seem to be a Premier League quality striker. And Liverpool away from home as well, haven't won since the opening day. That win at Stoke, which they didn't really deserve. Coutinho scored that great goal to win it, but apart from that, they've drawn a lot. You talked about all the draws, drawn a lot away from home this season, just not winning enough games really to be considered at this moment a top 4 contender.
Yeah, they do usually score past Chelsea, but 6 games since they last beat Chelsea. Which way do you see this one go?
Two teams who are pretty out of form at the moment. You can certainly see it either way, but the way things are going for Chelsea, being at home, like you just mentioned, their recent record against Liverpool, I'm just going to side with them to edge it 2-1.
It's one that could go either way, couldn't it? It depends which Chelsea turn up on the day. They just haven't got the results, even when we've backed them time and time again to come good. They just haven't got them. Liverpool haven't really got going under Klopp. I think my prediction might change depending on what happens tonight in the League Cup against Bournemouth, but I think I'm going to go for another Liverpool draw, 1-1 for me. So we're going for 1 narrow Chelsea victory and a draw. Thanks for joining us.